As I got you, yeah, everything is gonna be alright. I know it will. Be alright. Oh, yeah.
Got you.
To
Put
put
on
on
my feet
my feet. Yes,
for
sir.
my
Welcome back.
feet.
Welcome back
Back.
to another episode, season 2,
What
episode
up? Listen, bro, I got a bad joke.
3. I'm ready for it. What's the joke?
I was thinking, and you already know my head messed up because of the stupid song. Sorry, that's a bad word. We can't say that. Was like, do we need to change it to the Sabbath every other morning show?
No, you do not. Sabbath morning show every other week, man. It's just like the
Sabbath every other morning show.
yeah, man.
I'm having a bad morning, man.
Hey, but you made it to the
I made it to the morning, but now the morning I gotta make it through the morning.
there. Well, so that's the truth. But you did. And so are you. So welcome to everybody on the show. Thank you
Yes,
for joining us.
yes,
My name
yes.
is Chuck, and that is Zig.
Hey, what's up? I see your curls over there, brother.
You know, trying to look like a human being this year.
I see you trying. I see you trying.
Right, a little bit.
I recognize your attempt.
Exactly.
So yes, thank you for joining us wherever you are.
Yeah.
Leave us some comments. We actually communicate with you.
Comments, as always.
As you
Comments.
communicate with us.
Yep.
And take this time out to like, share, subscribe.
All of that.
I think that's what the kids do. That's what, bro. My employees be making me feel so old.
Yeah.
And I'll be like I was like, we had a wedding in the hospital, son. That's my testimony. We bringing lives together, and we not just saving lives. We bringing them together.
That's right.
And listen, the chaplain was singing. Was this We're in this love together?
Mm-hmm.
For you young folks, that's an oldie but goodie by Mr. Al Jarreau. Al Jarreau was so good, he made a song about himself. Al Jarreau.
But before we get into all that and the topics that happened and stuff that we want to catch up with y'all, because it's been a lot. I know we talked about love, but there was stuff that happened and that wasn't so much love.
The love. Where did the love go?
Where did the love go? We want to say a quick prayer, man. Go ahead and bless
us. Kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace and your mercy, and Lord, please forgive me for messing up the song this morning for the church. Amen.
Okay, they got replays.
It's true. I mean, listen. I tried. I am just one man. We're gonna have to start a GoFundMe though. I need a new laptop.
But it's all good. So yeah, man. Listen, I know we've been focusing on love in the month of February. We are now in March. Yeah, can't believe March 2021. We are here. Good morning to you, Victoria. Thanks for watching with us. Happy Sabbath.
What's up, Mama? Hey, Mama.
What's up, Anthony? Brother Wiley. We see Bon Sabbat to you as well. What's up, ladies? We see y'all as well. Those are the ladies. You guys, in case you missed it, they were on the Sabbath morning show.
Oh yeah, you got to go to replay. You go to the YouTube, rewind, or the Facebook. Check it out. Some very, very lovely discussions.
Yes. Some marriage and love and dating, all the above.
All the above. We be out here trying to live our best lives.
Trying to live our best lives, man. It's crazy out here. Our best lives are here, man. The government passed a stimulus check, man.
Bro, I got taxes to pay. I ain't so excited about that.
It's a blessing for some of us.
I'm like, I gotta pay these taxes, man. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Getting that full stimmy.
I'm happy for you.
More though, I want to know what y'all are doing with the stimulus money. That's why I'm interested.
Bitcoin.
Let us know in the comments what y'all doing. Are y'all donating to ADRA, your favorite charity? You know, are y'all?
Bro, you just went all the way left.
Nobody does that with the stimulus check. Y'all don't be like, you know what?
You went all the way left. Like, what you doing with your stimulus? You know, ADRA is working on this awesome initiative. I think they could use some funds. It's like,
exactly, man.
That's not exactly what I was thinking.
You know, ADRA do be hitting me up, man. I like donate like once, twice a year, and I get mail like every month. They be like, "Hey, man, you remember that time you donated? You should do that again."
Yeah, I get those from NPR. NPR is probably I've donated to ADRA once, and I think they got tired of sending us letters like, "When you gonna send us some more money?"
Yeah, man. Man.
NPR. I donated a car to NPR.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and I definitely I think I had donated some money before to them too. So every blue moon I get a letter from NPR. Because I don't listen to the radio. I'm definitely I don't listen to the radio. I pretty much don't watch TV. So
you mean to like music, or are you just saying you don't listen?
I don't listen to the public radio stations. You know,
you don't listen
97, all that kind of stuff, whatever it is. I get in the car and it's already on NPR, and from home to work, NPR, and from work to home, NPR.
Yeah, I listen to it for part of the commute, but I see y'all in the comments, y'all saying y'all paying bills. That's good. And we're not be in debt. I see y'all doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Save, stocks, and a little fun.
That's right. That's it right there. I'll be doing a little bit of the same, paying off some stuff, saving, and hopefully investing a little bit.
I'm going to be giving it right back to the government. Right back to the government.
Well, at least you got that additional, so they're not coming directly out of your pocket. It's like a shifting.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And I told you the other day when I found out that people was getting, in my mind, I'm like, oh, stimulus, $1,400. Whoop-de-doo. Here, take it back because I can't. You know, I can't keep it. So I'm like, I don't even know why. It's a tease. I don't even know why you even try to give it to me. But then I was listening to the news and they said, yeah, you know, some homes will give up to $5,000. I was like, there's people getting $5,000 out here?
Yeah.
I was like, bro, like that, how they do that? I was like,
that income curve though, because they're
like, oh, snap. I'm like, I got kids. I got daycare expenses.
But
See,
you also
wrong with the government, man.
You also gainfully employed, so.
Yeah, I get it.
Ooh, I know a family of 7 getting $12,000.
I ain't even know.
I know that was an option.
I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here.
So if y'all getting the stimmy check, you know, we do accept sponsorship. We do accept donations, you know. Y'all
you already heard me starting this morning. Need a new laptop.
Yeah, it is interesting though. And there's a lot of different views on it. Some people think we shouldn't even be doing another stimulus check because this is stimu number 3.
Number 3. What was the first one? Was what, $600?
First one, I don't remember the amount, but I thought the first one was the highest, and then this last one was like maybe $600.
Oh yeah. So I think the first one was like $1,200. The second one was $600, and then this one is $1,400 because they wanted to fill the gap of the $600. Yeah.
And you know this all.
What do you think?
What do I think about the stimulus check? I think it's good to an extent, but I think it's becoming almost a little bit too much of reliance. Like it's like, oh, things are still the way they are. We gotta give them another check. And it's like we just out here printing money Like we're just like, yeah, give it to the people.
I can see that point. But here's a little piece of news for you. The United States is probably in developed countries is last on how much funds it's actually given to its citizens. And so the rest of the world has been doing it since the beginning on a regular basis. And so in terms of like what we've done, we've actually not done proportionately, right? What the rest of the world has been doing. And even the Fed chair, right? Jerome Powell. That's a smart guy, bro. Listen, I know this stuff because I listen to NPR. So check in, listen in to your local NPR station, give them a holler. And so Jerome Powell was saying, this is the guy normally who's like, we need to cut interest rates, we need to do this. The guy that's in charge of all the money. He was saying last year, like, we need more money in people's hands. Yeah. And so, because the economy, it's a two-way street where you need development and you need things being made and you need people buying the stuff. And because everybody's pockets is so restricted, like the economy restricts as well. And so,
yeah, I mean, that's a great point.
Yeah. And so I think there are definitely, I do agree with them finally saying like, well, this should be targeted. And it sort of was anyways, because there was always a cutoff. So everybody didn't get it.
But a lot of people did. I mean, it's just like the business loans that people were taking out that weren't really eligible, but they were getting the money. It's always hard to, I mean, people are always going to try to be shady and get money.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot that happened with this, right? I mean, with this pandemic economically, because all these places were shut down, people couldn't work, people couldn't, pay their rent, people couldn't pay their mortgage. These stimulus checks are helping, but on I would say maybe the flip side though is that what I would have liked to seen is more initiatives on some of the businesses, like mortgage companies. A lot of them were the student loans. I think are a great example. Student loan companies are like, you know what, we're gonna defer everyone's payment for like the next, it's been almost about to be a year and a half.
About to be a year. And they already extended it to the fall, I think.
Right. Yeah. But like mortgage companies, they're like, maybe if you need some help, we might consider deferring.
Well, no, I mean, we talked about this before. So like with the mortgage companies, they will defer it, but as soon as it comes out of a deferral, you owe all of it, right?
Yeah, that's right. You got to pay that plus all the current and back, and
so and again, countries like Italy did a moratorium on mortgage and rent. It was like no mortgage, no rent. And it was kind of like, because everything, and because they did it for real shutdown. They didn't do like kind of the piecemeal shutdowns that we did. And so they were like, nobody move, nobody get hurt, for real.
Right.
So, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think there should have been more done related to mortgages. I do think one of the one times I watched MSNBC, it was CNBC actually, because they was about the money. So there was this hedge fund guy talking about how capitalism wasn't built to survive something like this, right? And so it was like, and so even he was like, yeah, we have to do stimulus checks, like, and so like his hope was that they would have done like not these big ones ever so often, but he was like, let's do like a 300 every month, kind of a thing, and he was thinking that was going to help.
Ooh, good point, Brother Riley. Said the people are only getting 9% of this stimulus package.
Yeah, that's true. And where's the money? So that sounds like a talking point. So
that's a good.
I did see that, right? So because it's a $1.9 trillion plan. Where's the rest of the money going? The rest of the money is going to schools. The rest of the money is going to states. The rest of the money is going to COVID rollout for some states. They did announce that they'll have enough dosages. Is that the right word?
I believe so.
They'll have enough COVID shots
Vaccines. There you go.
for the entire population sometime May. And then, but states don't have the money to like run their own program.
So that's distributed, you mean?
Yeah, and so it's kind of they're like, yeah, it's cool that you're doing this. We appreciate it, but we don't have the money to do it. Which is what they were asking for last year as well. And so part of the rollout is kind of like, how do you do it? You know, everything costs money.
Mm-hmm. And that's true.
Everything costs money. I did hear one of the more ignorant approaches, and I get it. Like, if you don't agree with it, don't agree with it. Come up with a better idea, especially for politicians. But one politician was like, "Nah, let's just give every American $60,000 checks." It's like
you're speaking of hyperbole. Is his point? I understand, but you were right. We should focus on solutions. But it's. This whole thing makes me just think about the last year, right? It's been basically 1 year since the pandemic.
It has been.
And, a lot has changed. And let us know in the comments what this year, looking back 1 year, not 2020, but just 1 year from the pandemic to now, what does that look like for you? How anniversary. Right, it is. Yeah, the COVID anniversary. I know for me, basically 1 year ago, I had just come back from Japan early because of COVID. I was in Japan and like everybody was freaking out. Get down. Hello, sir. Everyone was freaking out about the COVID vaccine and about what do we think was going to happen. And at that point, not the vaccine, about the COVID virus, but at that point, Japan was more dangerous. Like people were like, "You're going to Japan? That's like the."
I remember that.
Why are you going to Japan? And then, like, while I was there, it was like ticking up here. Like, it became safer. They had less cases in Japan, but before I even got back to the States, because I was out there about 2 weeks. And, initially people didn't really know how to manage it. There wasn't a lot of clear quarantine. Like, when I got back, I didn't have to quarantine. There wasn't any hand sanitizers and stuff on the planes. There wasn't no wipes. They didn't have masks. It was a lot of just, Wild Wild West type thing. Yeah. And like, it's like a year later, we went to the mask shortage, the toilet papers. Like, now you go to the store, you can get all of that, right? So it's like, so everything's good now, right? There's no need to worry. Ain't no need to worry. There's no, real concern, right? Right.
Allegedly.
Plus, we got the vaccine, right?
And the vaccine. So, I mean, CDC did put out new guidelines about the vaccine. So I think at this point, 10% of the population has been vaccinated. But 10% has been vaccinated, and 20% have gotten just one shot. So vaccinated means you've had both shots. And then once you're not considered fully vaccinated until you have both shots, unless you get that Johnson & Johnson, which I'm not even going to speculate. But if you can get the Pfizer or Moderna, get the Pfizer Moderna.
Hey now,
if Johnson & Johnson is all that they got for you, get the Johnson & Johnson. Protection.
That's funny. We say that we need money to cover all the inflated prices on sanitizers, wipes. That's true, man.
Exactly.
We saw that. You would think that because of the pandemic, they wouldn't be out here raising prices on essential stuff people need. They're like, "Oh, you need that now?"
Did y'all forget that this was capitalism? Did y'all forget that's what runs? Not Dunkin' don't run America. Capitalism runs America. And so COVID cases have started to come down. Again, like I work in the hospital, so we've actually shut down our COVID unit and have gone to just using strict isolation rooms for just individual COVID patients. And so, we some days we go by and don't have any, and then we might get like onesies and twosies here and there. So cases are dropping throughout the nation, but in terms of cases for the United States, you know, we crossed that 500,000 deaths, which is unfortunate. And you know, prayers and our love goes out for anyone who's lost someone over this past COVID year. But 29, almost 30 million cases in the United States. That's like 10% of the population has gotten COVID.
Right. And you're right, brother Riley. Grateful definitely comes to mind. I know, like my family, you know, no one in my immediate family, you know, got COVID. I see people in your family, brother Riley, recovered at least from it. It's a blessing to have made it, you know, through the pandemic, you know, healthy, especially health wise. You know, we talked about the economic. Like, I definitely feel blessed economically. Like, I wasn't negatively impacted by work. We were still able to go to work and work from home as well. But, you know, not everyone was fortunate to have it. So it's definitely, you know, count your blessings from that aspect, because not everyone had the same experience during this COVID. And, you know,
this is true.
It's definitely made, I think, everyone kind of sit back and look on how our society is, right? Because I think a lot of people looked at things differently, right? Like teaching. There's something as big as teaching. People be like, teaching is not that difficult. It's not that bad. And tell you had to teach your kid all year. And you're like, yo, where are these teachers at? Like, somebody
right.
Go to school.
Yep. Yep. And unfortunately, you had that school board who made those comments about, oh, people just want the schools to open back up so they can get their babysitters back. I was like, that was...
Yeah, it's it's a lot to teach.
Yeah. And again, that's why some people don't, you know, people who teach, definitely shout out to them. I wanted to be a teacher at some point, because I mean, for a child's life, like a teacher makes a huge impact. Just like, you know, your career, like if you get the opportunity to shift from a job to a career, the truth of the matter is you spend more time with the people on your job than you will at home.
Mm-hmm.
And especially during a week for a lot of people, for those fortunate enough to be entrepreneurs and people who can set their own business off hours, or people who've always teleworked, you know, you know, they like, man, this ain't nothing new to me. But you know, for us 9-to-5ers, you know, to have to halt everything and fill a role that's usually been, you know, fulfilled by a person who wanted to do it. You know, that you know, our niece from Jamaica, shout out to her, bro. She got a teaching spirit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, when she was staying here, man, she was teaching these kids, and it's like fluid, like
right.
I was like, that's amazing. Like, I don't know, I couldn't do that.
Right.
Patience.
Yeah, and it's like what this comment saying, like, teachers are skilled in different ways. Like, we complain about teaching one kid, and they be teaching 25 of them.
Absolutely.
So definitely shout out to the teachers and all the essential workers, and you know, even from the church standpoint, you know, I think the pandemic has definitely, you know, helped the church evolve and change, and I think good ways, pushed us to minister in a lot different ways. You know, like everybody just about has to have an online, you know, website or a Facebook or something to get their message out. And you know, that's a lot of churches were resistant or really didn't focus on that, and it's been it's helped, I think, you know, especially our church, you know, grow in that way. I think it also helped us to minister to people in different ways, like with COVID, providing masks, providing, you know, I've seen churches do COVID checks. You know, it's allowed the church to minister throughout these very difficult times. So yeah, man, I still can't believe it's been a year. It's been a year of COVID, man.
1 year, you know, for us, it hits a little different for me at work, because we did have a colleague die, and so And there's some people who, again, it for them it's like, especially that first wave that really hit people really hard. I probably anticipate that like the next coming weeks might be a little hard for them. So if you know somebody who's been affected in that way, reach out to them, please. Again, COVID has kind of shown us. I know my kind of running theme is it's kind of reintroduced us to the church, which is us. We are the church.
Yeah.
And so if you have an opportunity to talk to somebody who's been touched, just tell them you're thinking about them, and make sure that you encourage them to take care of themselves. And self-care is really big. Don't fear the bad news. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Don't fear the bad news. Where you heard that from, man?
You know what I'm saying?
On the Sabbath morning show.
Don't fear the bad news.
But yeah, so, and then meanwhile, we got people still acting up. Unfortunately, in this COVID times, we got Baptist preachers telling people their wives need to look more like Melania Trump. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever uttered those words or thought that, hey, you know what? I wish my wife looked more like Melania Trump. That's what she's missing from her life. She needs to be more like Melania Trump.
Melania or Melania?
I don't know. I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name. We'll just call her Mrs. Trump. How about that? But yeah, there was a Baptist minister that he's out on leave after he made comments about women's appearances and said, their husbands would stop becoming distracted by other women if they were more like her, and because she, according to him, is the most epic trophy wife of all time.
Oh, he used those words, epic trophy wife.
Epic trophy. That was a quote from him. That's not a Charles Branch quote. That's not something I would say. Like, those words would not come out of my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if that's what you're looking for as a trophy wife, I mean, sure. I mean,
maybe he was just trying to do homage to Women's Month. It is Women's Month, and he was like, you know what? I want to uplift.
Bro, he might have. I think he about did as bad as Burger King with their Women's Month ad. Burger King did an ad this month for and it said "Women belong in the kitchen," and it was a tweet, so they sent it out. Women belong in the kitchen, but it was like they should have did like a ... at the end because the story continued. So everybody latched on to that initial tweet, like, it was just really bad. I mean, and so what they were trying to promote was women belong in the kitchen. And then they showed some statistics about the disproportionate number of women who are chefs in restaurants, and that they were promoting a scholarship for women cooks. And so it was like, okay, I kind of see what you did there, but the fine print, you always got to read the fine print. They only gave out 2 scholarships. And the scholarship was only $25,000.
I mean, 25 is that's not bad. I don't know how much chef. This is to just go to chef school, or is this to go to any university?
I don't know. It might have been just to go to Burger King chef school. Who knows?
The scholarship amount sounds so bad, but yes, the limited amount and how it was promoted. Because I remember seeing the tweet, and I was like, why would they say that? And I was like, they had to be doing
super tone deaf.
Well,
but unlike this preacher, and the what's the double jeopardy for a minority is to be black and to be a woman. And so I know we talked a little bit about like I think of women voting and stuff like that. And when you think about, shout out to Stacey Abrams making a difference in the world, women like that. And when you look at these elections, like, it's women that's killing it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely shout out to the women. There's a lot of women doing amazing things, and even within the church, we have a history of women being active despite some of the controversies surrounding women's ordination, all that. I'm not gonna get into all that, just want to say shout out to our women who have made differences, over the years. There's actually I saw a few that I thought
I can be your prophet, but I can't be your preacher.
Well, I was reading this book where they were saying that she, for all intents and purposes, was like an ordained.
Right. But I was just kind of like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. We ain't talking about that. No, we ain't talking about that.
Nope. No. But yeah, it's there's been I didn't know so much history of women, in the church. I thought it was interesting. I found out that one of the the first kind of African American missionaries, like she went to India. The first African American Adventist woman physician, Lottie Blake. She established the School of Nursing at Oakwood College. There's definitely been, in the early 1800s, there were women that were setting up, not early, maybe late 1800s, were setting up the churches and establishing schools. There's always been, within the Adventist movement, women that have helped to continue the mission, right? But they don't always get, I believe their play. Anna Knight, that's the name. She was the first African woman missionary, and she was in India. But well before her, there were people who were founding churches, who were setting up nursing schools and hospitals. And, there's always been this, I don't think as much attention paid to the contributions of women, especially sadly within the church. I mean, Japanese Bible workers who were, this lady was blind, but she still helped to keep the church intact through World War II. And her church was the only church that remained intact during the war. And then there's, I think in modern history, there was I'm trying to remember her name. She was a Chinese woman who, in China, it's very difficult to go to church.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But she led like an 800 person church, which I thought was crazy.
Right. Especially in China. Cause
yes,
they're not too big on that, on organized religion.
No. So definitely shout out to the women. And it's, and look at this is a great comment from Brother Riley here. Women started the gospel. He's risen. He's not here. Look at that. Look at them preaching. You better preach, Brother Riley.
Right.
No, they were the ones to tell the good news first.
Yep. And if you didn't catch our women's our what was it?
Women's Day.
Women's Ministry. International Women's Ministry Day sermon last week from Sister Elder Doris Gothard. She's an OG out here. She delivered a pretty powerful message last week, so check that out on the Pontiac Southside YouTube or Facebook page.
Yes, sir.
But absolutely, man, the women for centuries has been out here doing that thing.
And let us know in the comments your thoughts on it, how women have impacted your lives and made a difference. I know definitely have had several women that touched my life, from my mom to and my grandmothers and aunts, all the way to just different teachers that I have. Again, shout out to the teachers. I remember actually, here's a story. I remember, I think I was in second grade or so, but I was like writing some paper, and I had like so much content that like I had to work like through recess or whatever. And I remember being upset, and she told me, she was like, your hard work's gonna pay off. One day you might be on TV or something. She's like, you just keep at it, young man. And I was like, okay. And like, yeah, right. But it's just like these, women speaking life, into me, speaking, supporting me. I mean, shout out to Lovely once again, always supporting me, even coming down here to help keep this dog quiet who's not being quiet right now. But there's always, I think women aren't always given the love that they deserve and recognition. So definitely, especially in this time when we got the first woman vice president, Kamala Harris. Definitely.
I ain't really heard too much out of her. I'm surprised.
You mean like a normal vice president?
And I guess, which is funny because we was watching the presidential, I don't know what you want to call it, his news. Well, now I don't even think we really watched it. We just flipped it on, and you know, the wife was like, "Yo, this is boring." And I was like, "It's supposed to be? It's supposed to be boring."
It's not supposed to be like Hunger Games where you're like, what are they gonna say today? Am I gonna
No. It is supposed to be that way. And so yeah, we back. Boring politics. We back.
Back to the status quo.
Absolutely. What else we got on there?
Speaking of status quo, we back to still doing racism. Sadly, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Asian Americans, man. I don't know if you had heard, but they're being targeted, especially older Asian Americans. They're violent. It's not just like calling them different names like coronavirus or straight up calling a person like you corona, like using it as a derogatory term.
Which is crazy because like when I saw the news about that, and I was kind of shook, and I was like, is this for real happening? And
the dog's name's Appa, not Lassie. I see you on the comments.
But yeah, and so like there's been a lot like racially targeted attacks have been on the rise for the Asian community. Specifically like Asian people do get kind of ignorant, forget like people in the Middle East is actually part of Asia too.
That's true. And
yeah, so people with who are from like more Western Asian countries, so China, Japan, have been experiencing extreme violence, man, from people out here, which is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, man, and they're like for real. I read a story about someone basically taking a knife to someone's face, cutting them up. Yeah, like it's not just like, oh, let me use some racial slurs against them. Like they for real out here trying to hurt people, and it's like, why is this still a thing? Like, why are we out here trying to do this?
Yeah. That's but I mean I think it goes back to the amount of fear mongering that we've seen unfortunately over the past year. It kind of just went unchecked, right? And was given a green light, like go ahead, do your thing. And then and then when it started going crazy, then it's like, yeah, listen, we gotta keep peace. We gotta be peaceful out here. But then, same thing. Trump has been tweeting through his family with these press releases, is what he calls them. And again, one of his press releases just last week talked about in the message, it's called it the China virus. And so,
yeah. But you can't even keep blaming Trump at this point. Like, you're not even president.
But I think part of the message for people is, right, like he's someone that these people have proven, and not everybody. I think there are definitely people who voted for him that believed in his ideas. Now you got people who are just like, I don't even know what you want to call it. It's like idol worship in a sense, and so. And it's not that we're, I think it's just unfortunate that people haven't been able to kind of live their own lives and have their own ideas. Again, listen to NPR. They talked about this, where they talked about a lot of American ideals are actually delusions. Right? And there's a contradiction, right? So America, the greatest country in the world, founded on racism and theft.
Yeah, it's
like you don't put those two concepts together and be like, this is the greatest, and it was kind of like, and so, but it was saying like not all delusions are meant to be like, it's not intentionally bad, right? But it's definitely a hard thing, a concept to sell. Like, so when you like actually explain it to people, so if no one actually ever heard of America, and they say, well, tell me about America. And then you end it with, America is great.
It all depends on your perspective and the ideals, right? Because it's like you said, these ideals, and where all men are created equal. Meanwhile, they're like slapping the slave. But the phrase itself, right? Like the ideal of it is what's driving this, I think, greatness of America philosophy is that on paper, right? On paper, we have
on paper,
yeah,
sure.
It is.
No, I'm gonna say no to that.
Yeah, no, I think because even with the amendments that we added, right, on paper, that's what's making this great. It's like, oh, we saw, there was slavery, right? We tried to make a bill to end it, and voting rights. Okay, yeah, we made a bill to make things equal, but how we live, what we're saying, our actual actions don't match up, right? And it's a little bit like the church, right? Like we're like the Adventist church is the Christian church is the greatest, religion. Jesus, look at that. We got Jesus is awesome. But isn't like meanwhile we're like we're out here being mean to homosexuals, and we're out here, persecuting the Muslims, and there's this dichotomy of what we say we are, what we have on paper, the Bible, and how we live our life. So I think they're parallel ideas, right? And it's like,
and I don't know. I wonder. I get what you're saying, but like, yeah, and I think Dr. King said it best, right? We just want what you told us on paper.
yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, we just want what you told us on paper, right? Like,
right.
Pay me what you owe me.
Yeah, and I think that's really, especially for the African American experience, that's what it is. It's like, in short, it's like Black people just wanted to be down. That's all we wanted. Like, we ain't trying to like change like stuff for the worse. We're like, hey, you can vote. I would like to vote too. And it's like, nah. And you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
And just a real quick shout out too. If you haven't caught the Netflix special that Will Smith did, like super educational, super powerful. And I like that it's while it's a celebrity doing it, there's research that went into this. I looked at some of the background on it. They're doing complete, and it's like a complete historical reference with no gaslighting, no shade. It was kind of like, hey, here's a quote from this guy, and they read like the whole quote, and it's just an actor reading the quote. But it's stuff that doesn't. And there was like one thing in there about the vice president who took over after Abraham Lincoln. I never even knew who that. I never even thought to think about who that person was, or what he said, but he was like, nah. I wasn't really down with free and
yeah. He was like, let's roll. Yeah,
let's bring some of that back. And so it's super. It's called Amend.
And yeah, they're saying in the comments.
So if you haven't checked it out,
no, I see y'all here. Y'all down. Y'all educated and up to a hip with it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the first episode more history than my history class in high school.
Yeah, that show is good. They also have The Soul of a Nation. That's on, I think, ABC. They got different things, both past and present. Like, actually, I didn't even know there was a city that actually passed reparations. I think it was in Illinois. I forget the name, but they talk about it. I didn't even know that. Like, they didn't know that either. Yeah. So they got Soul of a Nation. Then
how long did that last, though? How long did it was like, we're going to pass it, and then it was like, you know what? We're going to take that.
Bring it back. No, and then there's what was the other show? The Black Church Experience by Henry Louis Gates. That's on.
I did mean to check it out.
Yeah. So,
and then Phil, as always, too. I really, if you haven't caught the, I call him Mr. Bob the Tomato. What's his name?
Phil Vischer.
Yeah, Phil Vischer. So look that out. Holy Post is what it's called on YouTube. He does a wonderful kind of synopsis of the history of the Black church, and why and how it intertwines with politics. It's an amazing feature. Again, more history in that 30 minutes. that actually matters and is meaningful than I had in a whole course of history in high school.
Yeah, man. So definitely go check it out. There's a lot of great content out there for both Black history and women's history. Mm-hmm. So let us know in the comments what you're doing for women's history, what you're trying to embrace and teach. I know just looking back to February, we had CJ like look up something about Black history every day and write like a little short paragraph. And then like I know we've been teaching them different stuff about women's history. He hasn't been doing as much writing because of the Pathfinder Bowl experience, but
hey, that's what it really matters.
Yeah. But yeah, man,
learning about Jesus.
We're trying to supplement, that learning. But yeah, man, our last segment. I'm looking at time, man. This always flies by this show, but cancel culture, man. Whew, it ain't going nowhere. That's one thing that hasn't changed is cancel culture, man. That ain't going away.
Nah, I mean, I think it
is your boy.
Who's that?
He was the next great hope, right? Governor
Eminem.
No, Eminem was like, y'all trying to cancel. Like, nah, he didn't even know. He was like, I've been like this. Get out of here. But Governor Cuomo.
Oh yeah. See, I think this is more, and I wish we would get out of this. I wish we would get out, but I mean, it's popular now, right? So it's like, I think it's millennial run, right? Mm-hmm. Not to offend any of you millennials out there,
No.
So yeah, Chuck, it goes out to you too, sir. But this thought that, because I don't agree with you or you don't agree with me, or you say something, and again, there's no sense of grace, no sense of mercy allowed, right? And it just won't, to just say, nope, this person needs to be shut off the internet. This person and I do think what's happened though is because you have these two extreme views, and we're starting to all dump it into this cancel culture bucket. There are things where people who should be shut off, right? Who should not have platforms, who like break rules, like real rules. Mm-hmm. But then there's this other idea, like where it's kind of like, oh, this person said this, and then we just gonna flood them with hateful messages, and it's like, how does that work? I don't really understand it.
Yeah, and it's like what Brother Raleigh's saying, this is a tit for tat. Like you do something, now it's like we go the other extreme where it's like, yeah, let's cancel him and make him lose his job and make him do this, and it's like, what is enough? Because I feel like the cancel culture triggered. I feel like people may disagree from the Bill Cosby scandal for everything that he did. Once that happened, it was like, and Harvey Weinstein, like both of those two like big celebrity.
And I think they were two different things.
For sure. It was, but they were along the same thread of this cancel culture. Like they went back and they were like, we were removing all the Cosby Show. We were removing his doctor. Yeah. We were removing, it's like, they're like trying to erase like people from history. And it's like, he did terrible, horrible things, but there were good things also that he did, right? People we can't
separate the good from the evil.
Separate the good from bad. We can't understand that there's two sides of a coin to people, right? There's like good things that people do, there's bad things people do. And we're like, no, it's a coin. Delete the coin. And it's like, no, that's
But there's a discussion about this. And contextually, there's the Sam Houston, the guy for which the city of Houston is named after, mm-hmm. was against the Confederacy, mm-hmm. like highly against the Confederacy, but he owned slaves, mm-hmm. and he was honest and truthful, like during that time about the situation, and was saying slavery is about profit. It's about it's a necessary, it was like a necessary evil, but he was like, he owned I think like 12 slaves at the time and profited from slave trading and all kind of stuff, but it was the culture of the time. And so this idea, so now there's this controversy, right? we got to cancel him. We got to erase everything because he owned slaves. And it was kind of like, and so I get the idea and the argument, but then it's like, so did Thomas Jefferson, so did George Washington. So it's kind of like all these, that was the history of the country. But then I absolutely agree with the people, this Confederacy thing, right? So I'm like, you a loser. Like, why are we celebrating losers? That don't make no sense to me.
And that's the battle, right? Because like we have statues of Confederate soldiers, we got people still waving flags, and it's like, what is happening? Why isn't and so it's like, oh, we need to cancel that culture, and it's like the culture that's still living. Yes, I think that's the aspect that we don't necessarily talk about. The culture canceling was supposed to be the mindset, right? Where it's like you can't, drug women, you can't, sex harass women. That's the culture that's supposed to be canceled. Supposed to be shifting that mindset, but we focus so much on like the person
yeah,
that was doing it. Let's get rid of this and get rid of that. And it's like, okay, we can talk about that, but are we like changing people's minds, like to let them know, like, no, this is not.
No. There's no lesson. There was an internet guy. I don't even know, KSI, I guess his name. I don't really follow YouTubers like that, but they attempted to cancel him, and it was like, and he was just kind of like, oh, I did that. I wasn't aware. Like, and it was like sincere. It was like, I didn't know. I didn't even know what that word meant. Like, and it was like something he said like years ago. And again, that's kind of what they do. And so even I think we had talked about this before. Like Dave Chappelle had that thing. It was like, or he did that joke. Was like, I'm going to get you. I know what you did 25 years ago. And it was like, that's what the culture's turned into. Like, people are actively looking for things that happened long time ago to bring it to the forefront, to be like, you said this 25 years ago. It's like, did I?
Yeah. And then, there's a good comment. People think that if they cancel the person, they cancel the action. It doesn't necessarily work like that. And that's a great question. What about biblical doctrine? That is what I want to get into. What about cancel culture in the church? So what about when biblical doctrine isn't popular, when Jesus' followers would be canceled? When praise demands a sacrifice, will we worship even then?
I mean, that's interesting, right? Or biblical doctrine. I think biblical doctrine is already kind of broken up in general, right? And I think there's absolutely appropriate criticism for the church. Like, we talked about this. I know you and I talked about this because there's like this a guy, Adventist spokesperson, who essentially went on the show to defend Adventism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he did it like honorably, and at the same time, like, was like, well, I don't appreciate how you portrayed the church, but also accepted the criticism. And so I think we do a good, we would do ourselves good to accept a lot of the criticism. And I think the appropriate cancellation comes when people don't accept the criticism. It's like when you're unwilling to change or unwilling to see what was done, like Cuomo, right? Bring it back to Cuomo, right? So it's like, bro, you got, first it was 1, then it was 2, then it's 3. Now we up to 6 or 7. So it's kind of like, at what point do you go, you know what? And he does like that sexist type of apology, where it's like, I'm sorry if anything I've done offended anybody. It wasn't my intentions.
Right.
I'm not that kind of person. But then after you make that at conference, like, here comes another woman. So
yeah, and I think, as far as the church, first, as far as you were talking about Alan Parr, right, earlier.
Yeah.
That was I'm putting that in the comments. That's the debate where actually was an Adventist against this evangelical, or discussing, not really against.
They're friends, right? Which was awesome.
Yeah.
We had 2 friends, and one friend said, I don't like Adventists.
Right.
But his other friend happens to be Adventist. It's like, bro, we friends. We need to talk about this.
Yeah. But I think that, there is definitely going to be, I think, a line drawn about, Christianity and not being. I mean, there's a lot already push on Christianity to update with the times and to allow for the current culture to kind of supersede the Bible. And I think we do have to be mindful of that. The Bible, is our, moral, God is our moral compass, not, how society, because to your point, right, society's morals have changed throughout the years. People's morals have changed, but, the Bible is the, authority on that. And, we have to be mindful of how we portray it, because that's part of the issue with, cancel culture in the Bible, right? Because people have used the Bible in negative ways, right? People use the Bible to promote slavery. People use the Bible to, keep, women down. And it's like, that's not the message of the Bible. And so I think it's up to us as Christians to, make sure we are doing our due diligence and representing the Bible in the right way. Good comment. Does it ask to supersede the Bible, or does it ask to live more in line with the Bible? Accepting the rights of everyone is the same as loving our neighbor. Correct. I think that's true, but again, it's like, how is it being perceived, right? Because what some people will say is like, the Bible speaks against, homosexuality, so like the Bible's wrong. The Bible does not want to let me live how I want to live my life, right? And so that becomes part of the discussion of this cancel culture. Like, some people are like, no, this is why we need to go do away with the Bible. This does not promote equality.
I definitely have some views on that. And I think I'm more in line with this idea of like you said, right? People have used the Bible for years to persecute people, right?
For sure.
And all the while also being persecuted. And so you have these two extreme forces at play. And I think in terms of society shifting and changing, we also have these two extreme forces at play, where you have this extreme liberal view of Christianity, where they might do things that aren't traditionally accepted. But then you have this extreme right view of Christianity where it's almost trying to roll back and recreate some of the things that were hurtful about Christianity that people had criticized, right? And so you have these two extreme things. And so, and I've actually thought about this week, and it was kind of like, what's the recourse? Like, what's the answer? And I was like, well, like God, like even when like issues of homosexuality or anything else, like it's not like our job to judge. Like, it's our job to bring people Jesus, to present ourselves. And Jesus is the one that changes hearts. We don't. That's not our job to change hearts. And I think we sometimes get into the business of, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, or you shouldn't do that. That's not biblical. Look at that sinner. Again, all the while being a sinner themselves, right? I sent later on today, I'm doing a discussion with the Journey Fellowship Church. And so
shout out to D Rich.
Yep, shout out to D Rich. And so one of the things that he asked me for was my bio. And in my bio was like, I'm like I typically say like I'm an ardent follower and failure at following Christ, right? I recognize that I want to be a follower of Christ. You know what I'm saying? I want to be one of his disciples.
Yeah, and what
I want to walk in the newness of life. But again, I fail, right? Over and over and over and over again. And so I think we're going to always have this societal challenge related to Christianity because of the way we present it, as if we are not sinners, and that there are some sins more deplorable than others. And it's kind of like no, like that's not how that works. And so I was reading the scripture yesterday, I think it's like Matthew. Can't think of it. So it's like in my mind, what I was thinking was why isn't Matthew 5 the doctrine of every church, right? Where the Beatitudes are. Right. We come up with all these themes and all these other stuff. And it was like Jesus gave us a script and we don't follow it. And so I think until we start to follow it, and even when we do, there's still going to be people who go against it. But it's a whole thing, man. All that to say, words matter, and how we present ourselves really matter. And I think there's a lot of hyperbole about the persecution of Christians. And I know you big on it too, this freedom of speech thing.
Yeah,
I don't see it. I don't see there's an issue. This country is dominated by Christian views.
Sure.
So I don't see this persecution. I think it probably will be, and it will to a certain extent. I see from my lens, I see more Christians persecuting than I see Christians being persecuted.
I think historically that's true, but I think there's a shifting tide where that's happening. I mean, we just had the Supreme Court case of freedom of speech where the guy was trying to preach. Right. So I think there are, I'm not saying that like, yeah, we're out here. We need to, it's not like China, right? Where we're trying to right. But I think there's pressure, right? I mean, that's what the conversation kind of started with this cancer culture. There's pressure, right? Of this mob mentality where it's like, once one thing kind of happens, it's like, oh, we got to cancel this whole thing and get rid of it. And it's like, whoa, let's slow down. And I do think there is a balanced biblical approach to witnessing, to teaching, right? I mean, that's what part of Jesus' ministry was, to try to, how did the elder put it? The New Testament is the Old Testament revealed, and the Old Testament is the New Testament concealed, right? It's the same message, but it's just presented differently. And it's, I think we still have a lot of that kind of going on today, where people are trying to understand God in today's times and in their experience. And through our lack of understanding, I think that's where we give these misconceptions and, misconstrue, God's word. And there's also people who do it, purposely. I mean, yeah. And that is true. And there will be a time where
it will be, right? Yeah. It's kind of like, I feel like until then, people are like, well, let me get mine in right now.
Some people, but there's
definitely some people that's like, yep, we're gonna be persecuted, but you know what? And they've taken that and they use it. They use that as a weapon, right? And again, I think that's the part that's debatable, right? It's kind of, and I think there's a debate. There's good and healthy debate about how to approach people when it comes to Christianity and religion, and what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. Those kind of things absolutely exist. Is it written that Christians will be persecuted? Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Christians have been. It's just not.
And they have been, right?
Yeah, it's not like, I think it's all about our mindset and perception, right? I think some people have a mind where it's like going to be this big thing that's what everyone's waiting and looking for. But it's like, meanwhile, we're having like these small examples. But it's that's an interesting topic. I think we should bring that up.
Bring back one of these amazing pastors that we've had. And again, I like the series that we've had. If you haven't checked out the sermon series that's been done, we had an August live sermon series. We did a February live sermon series. All of them very powerful speakers and pastors. Check that out on Pontiac YouTube page. What's been reflected in my mind this week was Pastor Rome, and the idea that your name is already in the book. Mm-hmm. Like amazing concepts. And so that we've been walking through. We've had Pastor Taylor. Shout out to Pastor Terrence Taylor. Mm-hmm. Who dropped a video apparently 4 days ago.
Oh.
Yeah. And so we got to get him back on here too, because he definitely is of a mindset. And we still got part 2 coming with Pastor Victor Bartley.
Yes.
And so some amazing speakers that have been speaking with us that we've had the fortunate opportunity to have on the show. So we'll definitely be talking more about this, especially we got Brother Riley keeping us on track.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. But on that note, as we end the show, we want to definitely leave you with some hope, something fun, something light, and that is, I don't know if y'all caught it, but we were blessed to have Kirk Franklin drop a tiny desk.
If you ain't see that, oh
man, you got to see that. He dropped a whole tiny desk. Him and
where did he drop it?
NPR. Naturally, they went through the whole catalog too in 15 minutes. Look at them, they jamming in that tiny desk. All types of blessing and hits. Definitely go check it out. It's 15 minutes. You'll be blessed. I know I was blessed. We even watched it twice.
Yeah, I mean the kids love watching it.
Yeah.
And they have a couple gospel. If you haven't been, especially during the pandemic, if you ain't heard about Tiny Desk, come on, you need to do some catching up.
Right.
Brian Courtney Wilson, I think that's his name, right? Mm-hmm. Another gospel singer. He has an amazing Tiny Desk. Another gospel artist out here. I want to say PJ Morton did a gospel a set on there. So yes, we definitely check them out.
There's definitely good content out there, and of course, there's always the Sabbath Morning Show.
Absolutely.
Catch up our old episodes on Facebook, on YouTube, and on all podcast streaming platforms.
All right.
With that being said, don't fear the bad news.
Don't fear the bad news. Always keep your mind. Wait. Where am I? I was like, wait a minute.
You was there. I was like,
keep your heart and mind focused on Jesus.
And always trust in the Lord.
In the Lord till I die. I gotta figure out what the melody is for this.
You gotta find a note. All right. We are two Christian brothers, and we out. Thanks for rocking with us. Have a blessed day. Catch y'all later.